When science, art and imagination collide, it can be the most fantastical experience. Just think about all the amazing science fiction and fantasy films that have been inspired by nature. And it's also a great fun and confidence building exercise to just use your art to bring your imagination to life. And the more we learn about nature, the more weird stuff and the more wonderful stuff we can mix in with our imagination. And so today's video is all about doing that. We are going to be doing some amazing, fantastical artwork. So today is going to be a real insight into my brain whenever I see nature on the rocky shore. I love fantasy. I have two bookshelves in my flat, one of which is full of fantasy and one of which is full of fantastical science. And today we are combining the two. And the reason I think it's so amazing is that there's something very similar to learning new things and research and working out like, oh wow, what does that crab do? How does it do this? How does that go about? That fuels your imagination. And I immediately personify everything. So when I go rock pooling, I'm literally thinking of all the ways that these can be magical, fantastical creatures that have extra superpowers. But it's also great because it builds your confidence, because you're taking something in your head that maybe other people don't think exists. I'm going to phrase it very cautiously, because I think a world without dragons is really boring, so I believe in them. So you take something that's in your head and you want to put it on paper, and that is really difficult. Sometimes you will just want to be painting something that's in front of you, and that could be hard enough as it is. So taking everything together is difficult, but art is a fantastic way to do that, because really that blank piece of paper can have anything on it, and it's so exciting to fill it with all your imaginative ideas. And I am running an art challenge, which I will talk about a bit later in the video, that it's starting on the 1st of October, so in a couple of days' time. And I know that people's confidence slips sometimes when they see an art challenge. Oh, I can't do that, maybe it'd be too much, or I don't know where to start, I just need to get into the flow of it. I think this is a fantastic thing to do, to sit down and just paint something into existence. It's going to be, it takes the pressure off, because how can you be wrong when it's the thing that's coming from your brain? Not that you could be wrong in art anyway, but it just eases the pressure off. I think this is a great activity to do before you start doing my art challenge called Rock Polaroid, which I'm going to be talking about a bit later. So make sure to stick around for that if you want to know some more details. But I have also been recording 10-minute footage of underwater secret hidden rock pool life that I've put in this playlist here. Now, I get so inspired when I look at this. I think it's perfect for art. I think it's perfect for sparking ideas. And in this particular 10-minute thing that I recorded the other day, I immediately had all these imaginative ideas of this idea, which I'm going to be sketching and painting today. So if you want to watch the video and kind of paint along and make your own version of it, I would love to see. Go check out that video as well. But let's get into the fantastical realm of imagination and science and art. So when I watched this footage back, I was just immediately inspired. It's this gorgeous rock pool that's like reflective, but it's got these limpets moving around, and if you speed up the footage of the video on like YouTube, you can see them moving around, and it's like they've got cities. And that's kind of this whole idea I thought of wanting to make this world where tiny cities lived on limpets and snails and all of these different creatures. And I originally wanted to just do a painting of it, but then I had this idea of like, what if I kind of mixed half painting, half, I don't know, a kind of illustrated map. And then I got all these ideas of all these different stories and everything. And I really want to encourage everyone to just kind of like follow whatever their imagination, whatever nature inspires, because being out and experiencing new things can just lead to so many exciting different thoughts and you know, I don't know how often science and fantasy are thought of together, but really, like, there's so many amazing movies that are inspired by the weirdness of nature. Here I'm drawing a goby with a city on its side. I'd just like to point out, I don't really quite believe in the science behind that. I think if I'd have to think on it a bit longer, if I had time, about how a city would live on a fish. If you have any ideas, please chuck it down in the comments below. I don't think on their side would be the best. I tried to put it in the fin gap between the two top fins on a shanny. It's not quite a goby, sorry, but no, I put it on its side, and I'm maybe regretting that slightly now. You know, in the realms of fantasy, that maybe it wasn't the most realistic. I'm just finding this creative process so exciting and so fun, and I've actually made like a little creative story around this. This is something I actually do quite a bit, which in my own time, I have like a load of just random stuff that I get inspired and write down. I don't often share, but I've decided to share it this time because I think it adds to this page. So you can go and check that out on my website. It's just like a few, like not even 2 pages worth of just the ideas behind this, but I just thought it was fantastic. And this landscape is coming together. It just looks like, what I think it looks like is like a terrestrial landscape. Like it looks like bogs and forests and marshes. And I've kind of done these boxes where it zooms in, but not quite zooms in. I don't know, like captures a section of it. So you can see the detail, and then it kind of zooms out for a more map surroundings. And the top box was trying to show like the reflection, and I kind of thought that like it looked a bit like a starry night with the reflection in the footage. I don't think I quite captured that in my illustration, but I captured it enough that it was in my head. And I just think, what a great way to use kind of fantasy to engage people about science as well. Because look, I'm not going to deny that there might be tiny cities on a certain shore living on a limpet. Why not go out and see? Why not go rock pooling for yourself and see if you can find tiny cities of beings living on top of limpets? And if you don't find it, but while you're there, enjoy the wonders of uncitted limpets, or get to experience nature. I just think it's fantastic. And I love this shrimp so much. It's such like it's like a derpy little shrimp. Like it just looks so like I don't know, like it was like a I don't know, I suppose it looks like a shrimp. It's a cartoony kind of style, but it just looks like, to me, like it's like, hello, like I love it. I think he's my favourite out of all of the things that I drew. And I always enjoy drawing limpet shells. Drawing limpets was actually the first thing I ever drew for Marine Mumbles, because you can get these really like nice 3D ridges. And my idea for this, and you'll go and read the story, is that we don't know who's living in the city because they're just too small, you know. So we just know that they're there, and we appreciate it, and the animals are happy enough to live there. But they're building these giant skyscrapers. You know, they're really tiny, but they've got these like mini buildings, and the contrast between, you know, the natural shapes and this little tiny world that's living there. And I just think, like, as I was drawing this, like, how cool would it be? Like, what if you were that tiny thing? Like, how would you view the world if you were that small and your entire life you lived on the shell of a limpet? And not only that, you had this like really steep hill hierarchy thing. I've got like all of the buildings going all the way up and down the shell. Like, how would you live like that? I don't know. I just had an absolute blast doing this. An absolute blast. I really enjoyed it. And I didn't mess around too much with the buildings. I just kind of scribbled them on in black, which is my absolute favourite thing to do because I'm obsessed with outlining things in black. So getting to let loose with just scribbling in black is very cathartic, and I enjoyed it muchly.
I would be really interested to see, especially if you go and read the little bit of writing I've done. But like, let me know what your thoughts on this are, and like, give me your own stories if this inspires anything, or if you talk to rock ball creatures and you go out and do it yourself, like this kind of stuff. Like, let me know what you're thinking. Let me know your ideas and stories. I think it's really like fascinating to see just the creativity. I just love being creative and mixing that kind of science and art together and creating a fantastical natural kind of world. I have named each of these, so each like animal that has a city on, or each little city turns into its own city that has its own little characters and its own naming process. Again, see, I'm like, this is one of those videos where I'm just rambling. I am obviously just rambling, but I'm just thinking about fantasy stuff. I really think adding that tiny bit of white to the buildings, like, completely and utterly makes it, like, it really kind of brings it into makes it look like this like metropolitan all lit up kind of thing, because of course they would have tiny little lights. Maybe they're using like little bioluminescent algae which exists as their illumination. Maybe the creatures themselves that are living in there, maybe they bioluminesce, and just by chance you see them little glowing out of their windows. If they've got windows, they could be round windows, they could be square windows, they could be triangle windows, because that's the important part of this story, is what type of windows did this tiny magical city have? I don't know. It's too small to tell. I didn't bring my microscope when I went to the rocky shore and found this city. I'm not going to tell you what shore it was. Go out and have a look for yourself. I'm going to protect the magical creatures that be and let them continue to live their life. But if you find them, let me know, because we can compare notes. And if you happen to bring a portable waterproof microscope, maybe you can see what shape the windows are. I love this bit. This is so much fun. I wanted like the outside to look maybe a bit more mappy, a bit worn. I should have like rubbed a tea bag over it or something, like an old map. But I got to draw in red pen. I mean, that's just really, really satisfying because it could have ruined it, but it also couldn't have. And I wanted it to feel like an illustration of, like, maybe if you found this in a book or something, you would discover, oh my goodness, this is city, and you can see that there's all these little things on it, but if you zoom out a bit, maybe you can follow this map, and that actually, like, there's routes between them, and cities and trading and all of these different things, maybe they interact. I definitely think this is partly been inspired. Has anyone watched, again, continuing the rambling, Avatar: The Last Airbender? Really reminded me of the Lion Turtles here. Probably rewatched that series for maybe the 10th time the other day. So I'm not surprised that this has popped into my head, or that I went and found them on the rocky shore, manifested them into existence. And I'm just trying to show the reflection at this point, because I don't know, I found the reflection interesting. It was so calm and so clear that the reflection was gorgeous, but I didn't do it justice, I don't think. Again, side city, looks a bit like it's got a mohawk. Was pleased with that, but maybe not the most. Oh, I love the shrimp. The shrimp is so nice. It looks so funny. I love him. So I had these on separate bits of paper and cut them out because I like interactive things. If no one's checked out my workshop yet on nature journaling, I do a lot of interactive stuff in there, and I just do it for my own kind of amusement, actually. I just like how you can kind of interact with a piece of art, and say I did like another painting of like another bit of rock ball, like I could move them between and it would just be fun for myself. But also if I was to like frame it, that's kind of where I'd put the fish and the shrimp, but just to highlight them as separate things. You can go and read this again, you can go and read the story. Kind of have to at this point, I've said it so much in the video, but each of them have different names. I love coming up with the names and the tiny stories. That one's called Welly, this one's called Zoom, and each of these are like little cities on their own. How they've been named is I've spoken diligently with each of the animal or guessed what if a city has not got an animal protector. I just had fun. It's just funny. They're just silly names. And I hope that this rambling video and this piece of artwork that I don't usually do has just brought you some joy, has hopefully inspired some bit of creativity, and yeah, really, I hope it's just you kind of said you're never too old to come up with these type of stories, because I hope that will be an 80-year-old lady sitting on a rock pool, talking to tiny people living on the shells of limpets. Maybe they're not people, maybe they're bioluminescent, and maybe one day I will find out what shapes the windows are. I haven't done a rambling video. This feels like early Marine Mumbles. If you go back and like check out some of my early stuff, it's just me being like, okay, we're going to talk to the internet, and then what comes out is I've called this city Leaf because they like puns, and believe me, they're amazing. So, that's what happens when I give myself free rein. Now, yeah, I give myself free rein in all of my videos. I mean, I've dressed up as a ghost on a rocky shore and run around. So, I don't know. This is just me having a good time, if I'm honest. I just really enjoyed having a bit of creative inspiration, which I've said 1,000 times in this video. So let's talk about Rock Polaroid instead.
So some quick info about Rock Polaroid, the daily art challenge running in October. It is a fantastic thing. Last year, over 300 pieces of artwork were created during this month. It's a great online community, and you'll get to learn loads of science facts from me and hopefully from others, from everyone sharing. So what happens and how you take part is you need to post to either Twitter or Instagram with the hashtag RockPolaroid2021, and I will be liking and sharing and commenting and looking at all of your wonderful pieces of art on there. Follow me on my social medias, Marine Mumbles, on both Twitter and Instagram. You'll see my artwork and you'll learn all of the different facts and keep up to date, and I'll be doing stories and all of that type of stuff. You can do doodles, you can paint, some people do photographs, you can do whatever you want really, but every day there is a prompt that you can follow that gives you a group of species, a group of creatures that you normally find in the ocean and in a rock pool. Makes sense with the name, right? That everyone paints together, so that we get to learn about all these different species from around the world and learn about all these different things. It is absolutely fantastic. Don't put pressure on to do every day if you don't want to, but it really is a great way to kind of practice and learn. I learned a lot last year, just painting techniques, just because you're painting every day. But it is a challenge, so if you just want to drop in for a few, that's absolutely fine as well. You can do rock Polaroids, which is what I do. Let me get one down. Little Polaroid art pictures. You can do big giant canvases. You can do doodles and scribbles on the side of a page. Whatever you want, whatever you feel most comfortable doing, do it, and I cannot wait to see it. So yeah, October 1st, I'll see you then.